I see the Dillman. They're over at the Durants. And they're non-muters. We got some non-muters out there. I like to give them names. The non-muters.
Something on TV.
Let me just go mute everybody because I'm gonna be calling everybody. It's tight. Hey guys, as we're getting started, I just want to throw it out there that anytime that we're jumping on any kind of live whatsoever, we want to try to make sure that we're muted because any kind of background noise other people can hear. So you want to look at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. There's a little mute button, or if you're on your phone, you want to press that. I was actually on a leader call the other day, and I was the one that got unmuted, and somebody was like, "There's background." I was yelling at somebody, and Kim's asking if they need a password for the Mindset Zoom. I don't believe so. I ended up being a non-muter. I was that one. And I have no idea because I didn't touch my phone. It was sitting there right next to the shifter on the boat. And I ended up being the non-muter. And normally I'm the one joking around yelling at people for being a non-muter. So with that being said, I think we're going to get this bad boy started considering we are forcing at 8 o'clock. Guys, this is our Mindset Monday call. And the whole point of this call is to work on our mindset and we'll have some skill set talk and we'll have some mindset talk. And it's about helping you grow not only your life, but your business to the next level.
I'm here. Buddy, don't run away from Mama.
Okay. We have some people that accidentally got unmuted. So it's always exciting, always exciting. So, guys, it's funny. There's been a lot of different things going on through this whole process. And, there's emotional management that has to go on in general anytime we deal with stresses. So I want to start the call off a little bit talking about one, welcome calls. And I'm going to tie this in. And the reason why I want to talk about welcome calls is because on the welcome call, we do a couple things. One, we address what is it that you desire? What is it that you want out of this game, out of this business? What is it that you want to create? And the reason why we do these is because, look, we all say that we want more money. Well, what's more money? If you find $5, you got more money. Is that what you want? Of course not. You want more than that. But what is that more? And the reality is what we also found is that many people don't give themselves permission to dream. Many people have not given themselves permission to create greatness. And their belief system is that, and it's funny because I will do these welcome calls and people will say, I'll say, so what is your goal? Like, what kind of income would you like to make? And they will say, I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it. Or, I really don't know. And what we do at that point is we give them I forgot what it's called now. Basically, I give them, the way that I handle it, I forgot what it's called, but what I do is I basically say, look, I know that you don't know, but if you did know, what would it be? I guess that's possibility question. That's what I was looking for. So many times I'll say, what is your goal? Well, I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought about it. I don't have a goal. Hey, well, I know you don't have a goal, but if you did have a goal, what would it be? Hey, what's your dream income? I'm not really sure what my dream income is. Hey, I know you don't know what your dream income is, but if you had one, what would it be? It's called a possibility question. And guys, I've had to use this probably 5 times in the last few days on welcome calls. And what happens is that when you ask that question, it's crazy. And we'll be on a Zoom and I'll be watching somebody and I'll say, hey, you know, how much money do you need to make this worth your time and for it to be something that, you know, can drive you forward? And they're like, well, I'm not really sure. And it's because we haven't given ourselves permission to dream. We haven't given ourselves permission to think outside of what our possibilities have already been. And when you ask that possibility question, it's crazy how it just turns on to where all of a sudden, they all of a sudden start going, well, if I did have a number, it'd be this. And and I'm telling you, I've never had a time when I ask somebody a direct question and they can't answer it, and then I'll ask that question. Sometimes I might have to ask it twice. And I'll ask the same question. I don't even reword it. And they'll say, well, I'm not really sure. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're not sure. But if you did have a number, what would that be? Well, you know, I just really don't know. Hey, I know that you don't know. But if you did know, what would that number be? And then it's crazy. They go, bloop, and they come up with a number. And I'm talking about this because I want to ask you, what have you given yourself permission to believe is possible? What have you given yourself permission to believe is real? And it's funny, like, you know, we joke around and we say we have 2 rules in our business. Number 1 is to be what? Normal. Don't be a weirdo. And the number 2 rule is you got to have fun. And guys, I've been doing a lot of welcome calls in the last week. Yesterday, I think I did like six or more welcome calls. Today I've done multiple welcome calls. And it's funny because like I feel and I remember different times when I feel different ways when I'm doing them. And for whatever reason, over the last week or so, just like I feel like a new zest and a new drive, a new energy doing these calls, feeling just really enthusiastic. We got some non-muters out here. Oh my gosh, and I'm not even gonna say who it is, but I don't even believe it. I'm joking. So with that being said, guys, you know, while I'm doing these welcome calls, see, our energy is everything. And the way that we come across to people, the way that we talk to people, the way that we make them feel. And when we talked about the energy, when the group of us got together, there was a group of between 5 and 10 leaders that started all this. And then another leader came in, and they just added to the feeling. What we were sharing, guys, is a feeling. What we were sharing was an energy that how we're going to make other people feel. So I'm asking you, based on your energy, how are you making people feel? Like, you know, based on how the way that you feel, would you want to join you based on your energy? Would you want to basically work with you? Would you want to basically follow your vision? Would you want to basically follow the way that you feel? And if the answer is no, then the beautiful part about it is it's your choice to change it. That you have it within you to change whatever feeling that you have. My wife threw a book out in front of me, and she was talking about character. And it basically said that your character is based on your habits. And that, you know, like you can't say that, oh, I'm a nice person, and then a good portion of the time you're not really nice, right? You can't say that you're a giving person and you don't give, right? It's your characters, your habits, not basically what you say that you want, but it's what you do. Wow, I'm having to mute some people tonight. Y'all are some naughty people tonight. So, with that being said, naughty people, so, you know, there's a few things. See, the way that we feel creates our actions, creates our activity. The way that we feel, our belief systems. In fact, every behavior is motivated by a belief. Every action is prompted by an attitude. So your philosophies, the way that you think, the way that you feel, is basically, it's going to prompt what you do. And what you do is going to then prompt what your results are, / character, the way that you act, right? So on these welcome calls, guys, The goal of a welcome call. So let's talk about that real quick, because people think it's to say, hey, welcome, here's our system, go do it. And it's really not. Yes, we want to share the system, but guys, if I'm on a prospecting call, I go over the system. If I'm Damian Calais has put me on the phone with 5 people in the last week or so that he's brought on close to 5 people at the $4.99 rate in the last week. And we've done these welcome calls, and on the prospecting calls that he's done in step 4, which is pass the ball to somebody else, I'm going over the system. Because I always tie in my story into how we created what we did was basically going through step 1, which is drink coffee, be happy. Our enthusiasm, our energy, our excitement is what's going to make people want to find out what we're doing. So where when you say, hey, do you know anybody who drinks coffee? In step 2, do you know anybody that, have you heard about the happy coffee everyone's been talking about? In step 2, and if you say it with enthusiasm and energy, guess what they're going to do? They're going to ask you, happy coffee, what is that? And then basically that's when you're going to share your story. And then you're going to lead into step 3, which is, hey, you know what? There's a video that explains it way better than I can. There's a Facebook group that explains it way better than I can. There's a this, there's a that, a tool, anything other than you. And then step 4 in the connect. And when I do a connect call, I'm sharing my story. Depending on who I'm talking to is depending on what part of my story I tell. Guys, I have a 20-year story. I've been in this industry for 20 years. So if I'm talking to somebody and I'm asking them a little bit about themselves before, it tells me what part of the story, of my story, is going to resonate with them. Sometimes I might tell the backstory. Sometimes I might just say within the last 2 years. I might say in the last 6 months. It all depends on who I'm talking to, but I'm always going to share my story. And then I'm going to tie that in to the 4-step system on how we achieved what we did. So with that, guys, the welcome call is one, to find out what their dreams are, find out what their goals are, and more importantly, how is it going to feel when that happens for them? And guys, if people can emotionally connect, if they can connect to why they got started to begin with, if they can connect the feeling of what happens when they achieve their goal, the feeling of what happens when their dream that they say that they want comes true. And many people, remember, they don't know what their dream is. So what do we ask? A possibility question. Hey, I know that you don't know, but if you did know, what would that be? And then what I'm going to do is I want to tie that feeling of, okay, so if you want to have a house in such and such neighborhood, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, whatever it might be. Oh, you said you want to spend more time with your kids. You want to spend more time with the kids doing what? Oh, you want to do this? Great. So when you're doing ABC, whatever they told me, how does that feel? How does it change your life? What else changes? What else changes? What else changes? The purpose of the welcome call, guys, is to tie in the feeling of what they say that they want, of what happens when they get it, to the activity. That is the purpose of a welcome call. That is the purpose of helping them tie in what it's going to be like. And guys, for me, I always share about the boat. And you know, it's been amazing during this whole process. I've actually gotten really good at the surfing thing, right? Before I surfed a little bit, but I've had a lot of surfing time. I've been trying to get a couple hours in every day. We didn't go today, but I try to get in a couple hours with the kids. My daughter's loving it. I'm bringing her, and I take turns. And it's been amazing. Jill, Faith is calling and all that. Can you check on that, please? So, guys, basically the feeling of watching my daughter, who's now 13 years old, and watching her behind the boat, I have to post some of these videos. Like, she's doing like these TikTok dances and all this stuff while she's cruising up and down the wave. And she just thinks that she is so freaking cool. And she is looking at us going, look at me, Mom, look at me, Dad. And the proud feeling that is. So it's the feeling. So when you hear me talk about getting the boat and what it was like not having it and all that, it's the feeling. It's not a stupid boat. It's the feeling. So guys, if you can tie in the feeling, so Amy and I have been talking about this a whole lot, and his passion, his dream, and everything is all about living out on the beach. And he was able to just go back and move back to Florida, and he's showing me like, I get to wake up to this, man, you naughty non-muters. I love it. But basically, and he's showing me, look, I get to wake up to this, and he's showing me the view of the beach. He's showing me what he gets to hear. He's showing me whatever, and he's like, this is my happy place. Guys, we deal with another purpose of the welcome call is to find out, see, people say that they want certain things, but can we agree that things in life happen? Things slow us down, things get in our way. Let's just say it. Shit happens. Sorry. Oh, we're going to have some people go, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. But it's true, does it not? It happens. And when it does, how do you deal with it? So one of the questions we might ask in a welcome call is say, hey, look, in life, we all have ups, we all have downs. When you hit one of your down periods, how do you want me to help you move through it? Like, do you want me to just come out and say, hey, Bobby Joe, you told me you wanted ABC. Like, get your head out your butt. Like, let's go. Do you want me to talk straight to you? Do you want me to say, this is what you're doing? This is what, or do you want me to basically calm it down and say, well, I remember when you told me that you said that you wanted to basically live over here and blah, blah. Were you serious about that, or were you kidding around? Like, so there's ways to do that. So the welcome call is also, how do you want me to coach you? And number two, do you have permission to coach somebody? Some people say that they want certain things, but then they really don't want you to tell them that they're not doing it when they're not doing it, right? And some people want direct because we have different personality types. Everybody wants to be talked to differently. And that's when we get permission to, one, coach them, and two, how to move them through that process. So guys, I've gotten some, believe it or not, but sometimes I could be a jerk around this place, right? And the other day, why are you laughing? The other day, like, my wife was like, you're just being a jerk and you've been mean all day, this other kind of stuff. And I have to sit and reflect and look at myself. Of course, we want to blame it on them. It's everyone else's fault. It's never our fault because I am perfect, right? That's what we want to think. But the reality is we know it's not true. So, how do you deal with these things? How do you deal with the emotional management of when certain things happen? For instance, the other day, I freaking lose my phone somehow, which was only like a month old. So I lose my phone, and I don't know if I set it somewhere. I don't know what happened. I had it. I was texting my wife at the gas station, and then I take off on the boat, and then I'm like, wait, I forgot my phone at the dock. Can't find it anywhere. Don't know if I don't know what happened to it. Gone. So all the stores are closed. We can't get phones. Like, this is ridiculous, right? So I tell my wife I want a certain phone. She's basically doing all this stuff for me while I'm cooking and goofing off and doing the stuff that I'm doing. And then basically I'm like, well, what about this? Why can't I get to whatever? And then I start looking, and I found a phone that I could drive about 45 minutes to go get and all that the next day. Point being is I was mad at myself for losing the phone, and then I was taking it out on my wife, right? So again, we have to be able to look at ourselves and take that, and I know that y'all don't even believe that because, with hair like this, that I'm perfect, right? Joking. But the point is, guys, is that it's emotional management. And we deal with things on a daily basis. Like, there's been things that I've had happen the last week or so that were extremely disappointing, where people will let you down. And it's about, how do you move through those things? And how do you basically change the mindset? Change your state. And like, when I was sharing my disgust over a certain situation, my wife is like, remember, you only have 24 hours to feel this way. Well, guys, it hasn't been 24 hours. And the thing is that then I have to get on a mindset call and talk about mindset. So you can't talk about something that you're not personally doing, because that's called fraud. It's called, not real. Do I look excited? Do I sound excited? Guys, it's about changing your state. It's about changing the way that you feel. And when you understand that you are in control of your feelings, the way that you do things, the way that you feel about things, and the way that you decide to look at things, you can shift anything at any point. And you can go from being a victim to being a victor, or what can I learn from this? So guys, it's up to you, no matter what it is that you're dealing with in your life, to basically decide to look at it from a different perspective, to decide to basically reframe it in a different way. So let's use an example. Let's say, for instance, you invest in something and you lose the money. Good thing or bad thing? Well, all depends on how you look at it. What if you lose that money and you say, you know what? I don't like the way that this feels. And you could sit there and beat yourself up, and you could say this happened, that happened. I lost the phone. How about that? Well, I can reframe it and I could feel all that way about it. Or I don't know what my wife did with it, but the cool thing is now I got the new 11 Max Pro, whatever it's called. And that's cool, right? So I wanted that phone anyway. What are you laughing at? So, no, I didn't throw my phone in the water. It was terribly inconvenient. But the point is that I had to reframe it and look at it from another point of view. So I'm like doing welcome calls and stuff through the computer, and I didn't have a phone. People are like calling my wife to try to get a hold of me and different stuff like that. I did a welcome call with Sean and Kim early the other morning and stuff like that. That woke us up. Oh gosh, was I not ready to be up? But we get up and we do it, right? And it's about changing your state, changing the way that you feel. I could have been like, hey, I lost my phone. I can't do the welcome call. Just have to figure all that stuff out. No, you just have to change your state, and you have to do it. You have to decide that you're going to be okay with things. So back to the investment thing. So say, for instance, you make an investment. The way that I reframe it, the way that I change the way that I feel about it, is I look at, all right, what are some things that I'm okay with spending money on? One is surfing and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. But I will talk about personal development. And guys, if you look over at my library over there, I don't know if y'all can see that, but I have tons and tons and tons of personal development. I have like every audio course you could possibly imagine from multiple different, I have Brian Tracy's whole library. I have Jim Rohn's whole library. I have Jerry Clark's whole library. I have Todd Falcone's whole library. I have Jeffrey Combs' whole library. I have Orrin Woodward stuff. I have Chris Brady's stuff. I have, I can go on and on and on. Now there's some names I can't remember, but guys, I have this guy, Myron Golden, all of his stuff. I have this guy. There's person after person after person that I've heard. They have an audio course, a training. I bought the stuff. And I've spent tens of thousands of dollars. No, I've invested tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, who knows, in not only training courses, audio programs, seminars that I've gone to, thousands upon thousands of dollars doing this stuff. So with that being said, what I do when I lose money is I look at it as a personal development course, because I'm okay with investing money in a personal development course. So if I'm going to invest in a personal development course and it costs me $5,000, doesn't it make sense? I do have some Zig Ziglar, but I don't know if I have his whole life. With that being said, if I was going to invest in a personal development program, and I'm going to do it because it already cost me $5,000, does it make sense to get the most out of it? Yes. So what I do is I say, all right, I don't like the way it feels to lose this money. So I invest in a personal development course. So I got this lesson out of it. What else did I learn from it? Well, I learned this. What else did I learn from it? Well, I learned this. What else did I learn from it? I learned this. And I choose to look at all the different things that I could learn from that process to help me to move forward through that whole deal. So with that, like just before I got on this call, I was like, I'm not really sure what my heart's telling me to talk about. So I went in and I just in writing this one little section, guys, I have notebook after notebook after notebook of my personal notes from trainings that I had been through that I just kind of started to look at. And then my wife goes and throws the book, Purpose Driven Life, in front of me. And then it brought up a story out of that book that reminded me of, like guys, we have a thing called the psycho-cybernetic mechanism. The book doesn't talk about this. But what that is it's your personal thermostat. It's your thermostat. So let's picture a thermostat in your house. And when you want the air condition to go on, you set the thermostat for a certain temperature. Can we all agree with that? Like if you want it at 70-some degrees, you go set your thermostat. Well, this is the thing. Many of you all, or actually, how about this? All of us have a thermostat. Our success thermostat is already set. Yet the challenge is our success thermostat has been set by other people's opinions of us, or what we've been told is possible, or what our belief systems is our thermostat. So when you start to look at what is possible for you, what is your belief system? What do you believe is possible? What do you like? So when we talk about what kind of numbers can you turn, what do you believe is reality? And what you will start when you start to, there's that one voice that goes, well, yeah, this is what I believe in. And there's another voice that goes, yeah, that's not going to happen. You know that's not true. Like how many of us, let's be real, how many of us say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to exercise first thing? How many of us have said that before? And there's another voice in your head that goes, no, you're not. You are such a liar, right? And you basically have that other voice that goes, you're full of it. Guys, that's part of your program that it keeps you stuck where you are. So for things to change, you need to change. You know, the good book says, I believe it says, by the renewing, what is the exact scripture, but it's basically, it's by the renewing of your mind. I remember that's the last part of the script. I used to have to memorize scriptures in school. I remember that part of it, and I can't remember the first part. But the thing that it's talking about in that scripture is the fact that you can basically change by thinking different. You can change your possibilities and what's real. It says, let the weak say I'm strong. Let the poor say I'm rich. Let the sick, it's not exactly how it says it, but you know what I mean. In his stripes, I will be healed. And the bottom line is that we can speak life into our life, or we can speak death. And the way that we think and the way that we can be transformed by the renewing your mind. See, I just forgot the transform part. Thank you, Lori. So with that, we have a bunch of people. Melissa said it, a bunch of people said it. So guys, this is a daily process of you, one, recognizing the way that you feel and setting the thermostat. So how do we set the thermostat? One is an affirmation. One is by speaking into existence. Now, I gave people a challenge. Like a couple weeks ago, I said, I'm willing to bet that people aren't going to do this, but I'm telling you, if you do this one thing, your whole life can change. How many people, honestly, have been saying their affirmation daily? How many people have been speaking a new life into their life and renewing their mind and renewing their belief and renewing what's possible for them? How many of you all have actually done it? Well, this is the reality. If you do that, if you start to change the way that you think, if you start to shift where it is. So in the book, Purpose Driven Life, to go back to that story, it talks about how on boats, they have autopilot, right? So say you're in the speedboat and you set the autopilot. And you set the autopilot to go due north. And you're basically the autopilot's, driving the boat. You can let go of it. And then you say, well, I don't want to go due north because I want to do more. And there's more fun over that way, west. So I want to go west. So then you start to turn the boat and you can override that autopilot and you can basically get it to go west. But when you let go of the wheel, guess what happens? The autopilot brings it right back going to due north. And what happens is, in our life, that's what keeps happening. It's that thermostat. It kicks on the air, right? The autopilot kicks in, and it brings you right back to what you're accustomed to. It brings you right back to your comfort zone. Brings you right back to what you're used to, because that's where it's been set. So guys, instead of fighting the autopilot, instead of like pulling the wheel and making it go and letting it go and having it pull back, how about you reprogram the autopilot? How about you just change?
I don't want it.
We have some non-muters again, you naughty suckers, you. So with that, what about changing the autopilot? What if we change the setting on the autopilot versus trying to fight the autopilot? So guys, you have it's the name, the psychocybernetic mechanism, the thermostat. It's too hard to explain. Basically, your thermostat has been set by your programming. But this is the beautiful part of it. This is the beautiful part about this, is that you have the ability to go change that thermostat. You have the ability to change your program. You can change your autopilot. You can change the direction that your life has been going by thinking different. For things to change, you need to change. For things to get better, you need to get better. So with that being said, guys, you can literally change wherever you are right now. So if you want to create something more in your life, guys, we do these calls to let you know that you have the power within you. See, and I don't know the scriptures, but I've been listening to stuff and reading stuff that lately and more, it says that we were created in his image. And it says that we can do miraculous things. In fact, I heard my pastor talking about this on Sunday when we're watching from the internet because we don't have church now. And he was talking about the reason why he doesn't personally lay hands on people when he's at church. He has other people, other whatever you want to call them, ushers, or I don't even know what they're called. But other people within the congregation are the ones laying hands on people. Because what he doesn't want people to think is that he's the one that has the power. It's that every single one of us, every single one of you have the power within you to create miracles. That you have the ability to use God's power and use God's energy and because you were made in his image. And that you have every seed that you need right now to create greatness, but you have to recognize it. That, there aren't people in this world that are better than you. There aren't anybody, look, everybody, in fact, I always joke about this, especially with the toilet paper epidemic we have. Like, look, most people wipe their butt, and that's freaking gross, right? Like, I have a bidet, so I have a clean butt. But all you toilet wiping, butt wiping people, like, I'm joking, but look, even the president wipes his butt. The prince, the king, whatever you want to call it, no matter who they are, whether a millionaire, billionaire, whatever, they all sit in the toilet and they have to wipe their butt or do something to get that sucker clean. They're not better than you. They've made different choices that you might have. But the thing is that every single one of you all are every bit as good as any person that's on this planet. But you have to recognize it. And you have to decide that you're going to be that person. And where does that come from? It comes from your character. And where does your character come from? It comes from your habits. And it's what you do. So in closing, guys, it's your choice. Oh my gosh, this is the most unmuting night. We're having a unmutiny tonight. How'd that sound? Unmute me. And now it's not even letting me mute these people. So, with that being said, it's so funny. You have the ability within you to create whatever it is that you want. You have every seed that you need. You have the recipe. You have the tools. Look, there's people in this company that have done amazing things, that have totally changed their life, their family's life, their family tree for that matter, because they took action. So I'm sharing that because every single one of you all have the exact same ability. Every single one of you all in the exact same company that these people were in. They have the same comp plan. They have the same products. They have the same everything. Oh, well, my upline is whatever. Well, guess what? You're your own freaking upline. The only person that you can control is you. It doesn't matter what your upline said, did, whatever, or didn't do. The bottom line is it's up to you. And if you want to make this thing happen, I don't care who you are or who you joined with or who your upline is or your downline or whatever. The bottom line is if you make a decision, you can make it happen. And there's somebody there to help you. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you start, some people are like, well, nobody's helping me. Guys, leaders pour gas on where the fire is. Are you burning? Are you creating success? Are you the one that people want to pour into? And guys, that is a decision. And it comes from activity. So I'm going to close with this. I've been talking to a lot of leaders lately, and we have all these blitzes going on, and different people are doing it different ways. And guys, it really doesn't matter. But what I will tell you is that if you take action, movement creates an energy. And when you are doing something, you can't be a negative Nelly. When you're doing something, you're going to get results. When you're doing something, the other day, I think somebody said on one of the calls, even a blind squirrel gets a nut, right? The bottom line is if you are taking action, something will happen. Even the wrong action will create something. But when you're doing something, when you're moving, when you're basically doing something, you're going to get better at it. Guys, in surfing, and this is what I said I was going to close with. In surfing, like I'm doing all this damn surfing now because there's nothing else to do and I could do that. No, I'm not going to get in trouble for it, right? And I'm out there and I fall over and over and over. And it pisses me off, excuse my language, but I get mad because on wakeboarding, I don't fall as much. And I can do flips and all this other kind of stuff. But in surfing, because it's new, I'm not as good at it. Well, guys, in the last 2 weeks, I can tell you, I have fallen more than you could possibly imagine. But in the last 2 weeks, my skill set has improved more than you can imagine. And just last night, I was sitting there going, man, I was going forever without falling. I couldn't jump. You know, at the beginning of the beginning, I wouldn't even say summer. At the beginning of the quarantine, I could barely jump. Now I'm skying out of the air. I'm like turning the board sideways and all kinds of stuff. The point is, if you want to get good at something, you have to be willing to fall. And guys, the fall in this, and what I love about surfing is the fall doesn't hurt. Well, there is no fall in this business, really. If somebody says, no, they were in your business before anyway, it didn't hurt. Nothing changes. But if they do join their business, something can change. So all no's are created equal. All yeses are not. Imagine bringing a superstar into your business. If you don't ask, you won't get. So guys, be open to the possibility of falling. Be open to the possibility of someone saying no, because it really doesn't matter. So guys, we'll close with this. If you want to get better, you got to be willing to fall. You got to just do it. You got to step up and just do it over and over and over and over. And if you were on the call with Todd last week, he talked about it. Like, the reason why he can just do these calls and do this stuff is because he's done it over and over and over and over. Guys, there's many people on this call tonight that I'm looking at, and just watching them when I met them and when they started and what they did and how they did it, and watching them now based on personal development, which is practice, doing it over and over and over again. It's absolutely mind-blowing watching the leadership growth in this organization, this team, just on what I've seen. Watching the growth of many of the leaders, and watching even the growth of what's happened with me and our family and just all the leaders together, how we've grown together. It's because we were willing to do it. It's because we were willing to fall, and we did it over and over and over. With that being said, hope you guys got value tonight. Love you all. Everybody have an awesome night. I will unmute the call.
Thank you, Chris.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
See you this month. I'll have it.